Good morning,
right.
everyone from United States.
Yeah.
And good evening to those in South Africa, colleagues in South Africa, colleagues in the United Kingdom. And also good morning to those in Canada as well. We thank God for this beautiful day. And we believe that this is the day that the Lord has made, and we have every reason to rejoice and be glad in it. Today is a very special day because it's a leap day. So I would like to take this opportunity to wish everyone a happy leap day. In fact, it's a blessing to experience a leap day because it happens once in every 4 years. So I believe that today our encounter with the the wonderful and the indefatigable professor will yield a good result for us. Somebody will ask, why are we meeting today? With my experience as a PhD candidate 2 years ago, my journey started 2017 and it ended 2022. I went through a whole lot as a PhD candidate. And I started a journey with many people. We started a journey with a whole lot, but only few were able to excel. Only few were able to graduate. It's not because that those students were lazy. It's not that those students were not having passion to carry out their dreams. But there's something that was missing. There was a total disconnect between what their dreams were and the reality on the ground. The connection between your dream and the journey of a master's degree and the journey of a PhD degree. So this experience that I encountered during my PhD and master's journey has really prepared me to be an ambassador that would help to shape the conversation on the research journey. I've had a whole lot of conversation with students from diaspora. By the grace of God, I've had the opportunity to travel to Germany. I've had the opportunity to travel to United Kingdom. I've had the opportunity to go to Paris, to Luxembourg, and other places. And I've engaged quite a whole lot of students. And you could see that the issue about research is not only linked or it's not only associated to a particular geographical location, it's a widespread. Last year, when I was in the United States to attend a conference, I engaged good faculty professors. I engaged other colleagues in the academia. And the issue about research or the problems about research is an existential threat to the academic journey. You will hear from other professors that I had so much, I had too many students from the beginning of the semester, from the beginning of the year. But now, when it gets to graduation, you see about 2 or 3 out of the lot who will be graduating. Many will start the journey, but few will be finishing. I've also had the opportunity to review journals, to serve as a reviewer for many journals. And I also got to know that the problems that we have witnessed over a period of time is not only about dissertation, it's not only about writing thesis. Those issues also exist when it comes to writing of articles. Currently, I'm serving as a co-editor for one reputable journal in the United States. And it will surprise you that you will receive articles from top scholars from top universities, from Harvard. I don't want to mention them, but you receive top articles. Because I am a co-editor, I have access to the title page. So I could see the credentials of people that I'm reviewing their articles. And it will interest you to know that the very issues that are confronting students are also confronting supervisors, confronting faculty members, confronting full professors. Notwithstanding with that, I've also had the opportunity to engage students one-on-one, to hear from them what is really the threat to your master's journey, to your PhD journey. And I came to the realization or to the conclusion that there is a common trend. I did what we call the trend analysis. Then I got to know that there's a common trend, which is serving as an obstacle, which is serving as a hindrance to their academic journey. That's why we arrive at the title, Common Errors in Research. So this morning, wherever that you find yourself, if I say morning, don't get confused because we are having a meeting in the United States. This is an opportunity for us to unpack some of the errors in research. And we are much privileged to have an astute professor, a man with unmatched experience when it comes to human science research. And I believe that this, our maiden seminar, is going to prepare students, fellow scholars, for them to achieve whatever that they anticipate to achieve without giving in to the stresses that comes with scholarly writing. And there's one thing that I also want to mention before we move on to the next stage. The issue of AI, artificial intelligence, the emergence of artificial intelligence is taking away what we call scholarly writing. Now, the moment you give students work, in my class that I'm teaching in the United States, you know what? What I always tell them that if you give me AI answers, remember you have gotten 0. But now we live in an era whereby we cannot stay away from the AI. But remember, if you import ideas from AI into your work and you claim it to be yours, it's a theft, it's academic fraud, it's intellectual dishonesty. So if you look at tools like Turnitin and Authenticate, they have algorithms that is checking the percentage of AI usage in your dissertation, in your thesis, and even in the manuscript that you have submitted for publication. How can we overcome this? We can only overcome this when we are able to unpack the difficulties that we are going through, the challenges that we are going through as scholars. Whatever that seems to be a stumbling block on our way as scholars, if we are able to conquer those challenges, we will be able to sit down, do what we call critical thinking, so that we'll be able to write our own ideas. We need to own our own dissertation. We need to own our own thesis without taking somebody's ideas like ours, or taking somebody's ideas without even acknowledging them. What I've witnessed over time is that students will be taking information from the AI, and then that's it. That's it. You are not different from the armed robber who is on the street, because that idea is not yours. But as we are going to listen to the professor today, I believe some of the mistakes that we have been committing along the way, maybe we didn't know, but today we will know. So without wasting much of our time, we will ask Ms. MonYonna Braxton. She is a PhD candidate from the University of Southern Mississippi. She will be introducing our guest speaker, a man who is well prepared, who is fit for purpose, who has stood the test of time to take us through some of the common errors. And after his speech, we'll be given a platform for everyone to contribute, to share ideas. This is a collegial platform. We are here to talk. And this won't be the last one. We will continue to engage people around the world, so that one day when we reflect on what we have done, we'll be proud of it. That indeed, we made it through our own effort. We made it because of this seminar. We made it through our dissertation and thesis because of this seminar. And I would like to issue a disclaimer. We have not received any federal fund. We have not received any fund from South Africa. We have not received fund from any government entity. We deem it as a corporate social responsibility as scholars to help ourselves. So the professor that has been invited today, he is doing it as part of his corporate social responsibility. He's not charging. He's a man so passionate about teaching. So that's what I want to say. And I'll hand over to MonYonna Braxton. Thank you.
Good day. How are y'all? My name is MonYonna Braxton, and I will be introducing the guest speaker. Professor Emmanuel Adu is an inaugurated professor of teacher education and curriculum studies at the Faculty of Education at the University of Fort Hare, East Cape, South Africa. He is a seasoned educationalist and administrator. As a towering figure in the educational fraternity, he has a stellar array of qualifications, which include a Bachelor's of Education honors in Economics and Political Science, and a Master of Education in Educational Management, and a doctorate in teacher education. He received these qualifications in 1994, 1997, and 2002. Apart from being a former dean in the Faculty of Education at the BA Asogo University in Botswana, Professor Adu served as chairperson of the recruitment and appointment of the academic committee. Currently, he is the president of the Global Education Network, GEN, and a member of the Academic Network on Global Education and Learning, ANGEL, which allows him to work with different types of postgraduate students, including international students across the continent. His interest in education has seen him develop curricula that attracted international recognition and funding from the government of Botswana. As a registered and accredited trainer, He was a member of the panel assessing the accreditation of courses, modules for university. These enabled him to attend numerous international conferences, resulting in the acquisition of a strong networking skills. Among the countries that he has traveled to, South Africa, Thailand, Botswana, Kenya, Czech Republic, Finland, Canada, USA, Ghana, and China as top list. This has resulted in his acclimatization to different cultures and the adoption of values of different citizens. Professor Adu fields of research and specialization includes the following: teacher education and development, economic education, curriculum studies, information and communication technology in education, educational research, and educational management and administration. He has published intensely on all the above listed areas of specialization. As a person, Professor Adu is the type of person who can work productively, effectively, and harmoniously with persons of both sexes, from any race, religion, as well as from different age groups and from varied cultural and ethnic backgrounds. The type of person that gets things done, an individual who demonstrates initiative, innovation, has the ability to influence others positively and build excellent relationship. This is the type of person who always has the sincere belief in the value of the type of work that he does, the type of person with a commitment to achieving results and a credibility that is beyond reproach. He has the multitasking ability and capability to work under sustained pressure in a fast-paced and demanding work environment, the ability and willingness to form part of the culture based on high performance, fairness, and equity, and the ability to adhere to procedures, policies, and rules under sober habits. Additionally, he has the ability to interact comfortably and effectively with stakeholders of the highest level, the ability to complete tasks swiftly despite constant interruptions, and the ability to handle rejection and setbacks and getting over things relatively quickly. He's also a good, sympathetic communicator, a good listener, an ideal person, a proactive thinker, resilient, self-motivated, approachable, tenacious, enthusiastic, resourceful, hardworking, and unselfish. Professor Adu promotes accountability, transparency, and good administration. He is an academic, an astute administrator. He is a professor, a team player, and an effective networker. He is widely traveled, humane but firm, a seasoned teacher and a scholar, and an international award winner, a reverend counselor, and a researcher. He's a fulfilled family man, and most of all, happily married with children. Without further ado, I give Professor Adu the platform.
Thank you very much, MonYonna. I hope you are not stressful in reading those those big names there. So just permit me to share what I would like to say. Dr. Damoah has even captured some of my presentation, so I will not repeat that. But I just want to say, number one common error in research is lack of research. Number one common errors in research is lack of research. Lack of research means lack of problem to solve. When you do not have any problem, you don't need to go into research. I am not talking about your family problem here. I'm talking about problem in the society, especially in your field of specialization. Maybe environmental education, environmental science,
education, science education, and so on and so forth. Now, by the grace of God, I will be able to share experience with you because for over 24 years, I've been working in higher institutions in the Africa continent, then in US and UK, presently where I am now. Now, let me first and foremost let you know that the second common errors are being categorized as the mindset, which is my next slide now. The mindset of researchers, the mindset. Number one, your personal commitment. Your personal commitment. As a researcher, are you committed to that research? Some of us, we have option of studying by coursework or studying by full dissertation or thesis. And some of us, our mindset could not grasp what we are to solve as a problem, and we are embarking on research. Number 2 bullet says you need to identify problems and gaps. Without you identify a problem, you cannot embark on any research. You must, because let me also say this at the onset, that at a master level, you specialize. At PhD level, you contribute to the body of knowledge. So at PhD level, MonYonna, in your stage now, we want to see your contribution to the body of knowledge. What are the gaps your study has filled, or what are the gaps your study will fill? Is very, very important. Now, number 3 things under the mindset is that many researchers across the world, they are writing as if they are writing to an expert. They are writing as if they are writing for their department or university. They are writing as if they are writing for their country. But this is not so. Because once you finish your degree, your master's or PhD, your dissertation or thesis will not stop in your department or faculty, will not stop in your university, will not stop in your country, will go along to other countries. So have the mindset that you are writing to a novice, not an expert. Have the mindset that you are writing to someone who cares to read and who cares to use the write-up to solve particular problem. That is why in qualitative research, we are talking about trustworthiness of transferability. You can transfer and replicate the study in another zone entirely. Another thing under that slide is think about why, where, and how of the problem you wanted to solve. Think about the why, the where, and the how of the problem you wanted to solve. Problem under investigation. So let me say these are your chapter 1 and 2 and 3. Why shows your introduction. Where shows your literature review. How shows your methodology. So you must have at the back of your mind, why do you intend in studying or in carrying out this research? Where is it? Has anybody said something about it? How? What are the methods are you going to use to address the problem you intend to solve? Then be realistic. Then when you are gathering resources, try as much as possible to record them down, because the world is digitalized and the world is dynamics. The literature you search today might not be there tomorrow. So as you are searching it for your research, find a place to save it so that when you need it, you'll be able to find it there. Then always save your draft. So above all, there is no 100% perfect research, because you are solving human problems, not animal problems. So that is why your research cannot be 100% fit. And that is why some of us are perfectionists. You write, you cancel, you write, you cancel, you tear down because you are perfectionist. And you ended up get frustrated and you did not continue with it. So permit me to tell you that in all research, you start with what we call introduction, problem study. So we look at that as first error when you are writing your research. Failure to identify problems of investigation. That's the error. What is the problems you want to investigate? You cannot start or embark on any research without identifying a problem. What is that problem? The problem might be educational, might be societal, might be political, depending on your field of specialization. You see, and that is why when you see the highlight in yellow there, we are talking about students identify a topic without reading the literature to ascertain the gap and whether they have enough literature to support the entire research. Some of you, you get to brick wall when you are writing. You said you couldn't find sources. You couldn't find literature. It's a lie. It's because you have not started at the right footing. So the first footing is to read and read and read so that you'll be able to identify a gap. Then the next error is how to choose a topic. How to choose a topic. So please, if you have question, be free to write it on the chat. MonYonna and the coordinator will read it after I've stopped speaking. Now, research topic. Remember, before you get a topic, you have identified the problem. And it is from the problem you have identified, you will get the topic. But once you are unable to identify a problem, you can never identify a topic. What are the common errors there? Researchers are always interested in topic before the write-up. It's not like that. Because as soon as you identify a problem, you have read literature, you have seen the gap that you are intending to fill, the next thing will lead you to how to draft your working title. We call it working title because it's not a permanent title. Or let me say working topic because it's not a permanent topic for now. Your topic will become permanent topic when you are about to graduate. But once you have not graduated, it still remains working topic. So why are you now killing yourself at the onset that you just want a topic? Some will go to their supervisor or promoter with some topics writing down, saying that, please, can you see my topic? Can you pick one for me? That's an error. You don't start your research by writing topic. You start your research by reading and by identifying gap, which is very, very what? Important. So when you have identified the gap, take for instance, the gap can come from your personal experience. Maybe you're a researcher on field work and you have seen how people are collecting data. You have seen the errors in collecting data, or you are going to the field of science and you see what is happening there. You are curious about something. You have what is happening in everyday life, or perhaps something came from the media. All these things will enable you to think about the area of your focus. So, suffice to say that topic should not be your priority. Your priority is to identify problem and to put the concept paper down and to run with it and to start your research. Another error is your introduction. Your introduction. Your introduction should create the gap. that you tend to fill. In your introduction, you must have a gap that you intend to fill. And your introduction must not deviate from your topic or from your title. Because in your introduction, you'll be able to identify the gap in alliance with your title. That's very important. That is very, very important. So that is why in some tradition, before you write your introduction or background to the study, you will write your key terms, some words in your title, and in the problem you are intending to solve. You write it down. And those ones will dovetail into what you write in your background or your introduction, which is very, very what? Important. And in some tradition, after your introduction, you write the keywords, which is the next slide I'm going to talk about. So when you are writing your introduction, remember, you must problematize your introduction. That is, let the reader know that there are problems in this introduction. You are not writing introduction for a literature book. You are not writing introduction for a magazine or novels. You are writing introduction that will convince your reader that, wow, you need to really investigate this problem. So that is very, very important. Let us get note of that. Then after the introduction, can somebody admit that candidate? After the introduction, you write some key terms, like I've said. You write your key terms. What are the terms? Because those terms are very, very important. They may be from your what? From your background. They may be from your introduction. They may be from your title. Just look for key terms. So the errors researchers are making here is that they find it difficult to get some key terms from their study. How to identify key terms? I've written it here. Write out your research question. Pull out the most important words from your research question. Think about the synonyms of these key terms and provide them as your key terms. Provide them as your key terms. So this is exactly what we mean by key terms. Remember, after you have articulated your key terms, you move to your background to the study. Your background to the study. So your key terms must feature in your background to the study. Your reader must be reading something similar to your key terms. You don't go beyond that because you are carefully identify your what? Your key terms. So you may not be able to go beyond that. So once you have identified your key terms, you will now be able to populate your background to the study. Remember, introduction is different from background to the study. Remember, this is a research and not an article. In article, we may not have background to the study. In article, we have introduction. But in a research, you have introduction different from background to the study. We need to take note of that. And that is why some researchers will be writing as if they are writing article. They'll be writing as if they are writing textbook. Because what constitutes a researchable topics are just three things before I leave, before I forget that. A researchable topics must have the problem. We call the problem the phenomenon. The problem, we call it phenomenon. Then a researchable topic must have the participant. Who are your focus? Because you can't solve the world problem. You solve spectacular or specific topic, problem. Then the location of your study. We want to see it in your what? In your research topic. In addition, in some countries whereby they are doing quantitative study, we would like to see your dependent and independent variable in your topic. We would like to see what? Dependent and independent variable in your topic. So that is why some topics will look like a textbook topic. And some topics are fascinating like a novel, like a newspaper cache, so that people can be attracted to read it. No, that's not research. In research topic, we want to see how you have unpacked those three things: the problem, the location, and the participant. Then another errors we are making is that the length of our topic universally should not be more than 18 words. Between 15 and 18 words in a research. And you must avoid abbreviation in your topic except universally acceptable terms or terminologies like HIV, like COVID-19, and so on and so forth. So you need to identify this and take note of these, colleagues. It's very, very paramount and important for us to note. Now, in a quantitative research, we are very keen in your dependent and independent variables, because most of the quantitative study is on correlational, and using some statistical analysis to find out the relative effect of something on something. So we are keen about looking at the relativeness and thinking about looking about the dependent and independent variable. We also have what we call moderator variable. However, I realize that some countries are peculiar with type of research they are doing. Let me quickly let you know. In some of the African countries like South Africa, they are very keen about writing qualitative study. Some other West Africa countries, they are keen about writing quantitative study. And some other country, like United States of America, they are also keen about writing qualitative study. But in UK here, they are keen in writing quantitative study. Quantitative study. And that is why I said in the beginning that when you are writing, don't write as if you are writing for your institution alone, or you are writing for your country alone. Write as if you are writing for the global world. And that is why you can be able to be a scholar. Listen to me and listen good. Not all master student or master degree holder or PhD student or PhD degree holders are scholars. You can only identify a scholar when that scholar has made an impact. When other people have cited your work, that means your work has contributed to the body of knowledge, your work has impacted their lives, and your work has impacted their studies. It is then we can say you are a scholar. So as you are listening to me this day, it's evening here, maybe it's morning in US or afternoon there. You need to search yourself, am I a scholar or a PhD holder? Am I a scholar or master degree holder? Once you cannot disseminate the findings of your study to the world at large, to the society, it's more or less waste of time, fruitless effort for you to even carry out research. You see, I call that one academic bankruptcy. Few weeks ago, I attended a seminar here, and I saw some colleagues presenting a very robust, statistically used research paper within the faculty. Then I was asking, when are you going to publish this paper? Some researchers do not want reviewer to pinch their work, and they're afraid of that. Whereas it's the joy of research is to be academically humble, to accept comments. Once you give out your paper or your study and nobody commented on it, it's no longer a research, it's no longer academic research. And that's what we call academic intelligentsia, which have accumulated into how people in the world appreciate your contribution to the body of knowledge, making use of your work, and transfer your work and duplicate your work. That is when we can say categorically that you are a scholar. I cannot take all the slides today because I believe there will still be opportunity for me to use more of this and to say more on this. But in less than 10 minutes now, I will pause to entertain questions. And I've said that those of you who are just coming in, try to put your question down on the chat, and the coordinators, the organizer, they will do justice to that. And your topics will allow us to go into more details. So the next error is your background to the study. What are the errors? The error is on that highlight yellow thing there, meaning that failure to contextualize your study on your focus in other countries. Can you imagine? In other countries. So this is a tradition. In South Africa, we call it funnel approach, whereby you nationalize your study with references to convince your reader. Like I said in the beginning, you are not writing for your department or for your faculty or for your university. You are writing for the whole world. Globally, your study, your work must make an impact globally. Must make an impact. So your background must be well contextualized. Contextualized in what sense? It means that let us know whose focus, or let us know what your study focus on in the context of where you stay. Let me give you an example again. In some study in South Africa, thank God some South African scholars are here. When you are doing a PhD and you have a sample of 15 or 10 samples, they will tell you that that's not a study. And even which it is, I mean qualitative now. You know, I told you they love qualitative. They will tell you this is not a study. So they want you to have close to 30, 35 participants to interview them. It is then they believe that this is a study. However, this is not the same in other countries. Now, when I was doing my visiting scholarship in the United States of America, I mingled with a lot of master's and PhD students. And I could see that they are not concerned about how many samples they use. They are concerned about how their study contributed to the body of knowledge. As a matter of fact, in the United States of America, even where you guys are over there, some of them have a focus. I mean, they are getting funded on crime rate, you see, on cyber crime, on something like that. That they are getting funding for that, which is more or less their focus. And in the United Kingdom here, their focus is on sustainable development goal, and their focus is on ethnographic study. The study whereby you use yourself and one or two persons as a case study, real life situation. In such study, you know, you cannot get more people because it's ethnographic. You can use yourself alone. I've seen a study that the researcher studied a madman on the street alone, and that study won an award. He will visit the madman at the early hour of the day, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., so that he will be able to ask some question from the madman. But whereas in some tradition, they will regard that as that is not a study. But by and large, what we are saying under this error is let us contextualize and link our context with other countries internationally. You know, I put a case study of South Africa there as nationally. Then you go down to the sample zone where you are taking your study from. That is what we are talking about when we are writing our background to the study. Your background to the study must be able to convince your reader that indeed there are problems here. So that you are not just doing jamboree or you are wasting your time without intending to solve problems. So we need to look at that. Another steps which I would like to point out is the dynamism of a research problem. Dynamism of a research problem. You know for sure that research problems emanate from what? From your background to the study. You agree with me that I've told you that your background to the study must problematize it. You must problematize it. You must show the gap. So when you show the gap, your problem statement, listen to me and listen good, colleagues. It is called problem statement. It is not an history. You don't start writing an history again or repeating your background to the study under this session. No, you don't do that. Because your research problems is like a wheel on which the tires of a good research work or rotate. That's a research problem, you know? So take for instance now, the problem in your background like can be a body of a car. It's a body of a car. Then the state of the problem is the tires on the wheel. Remember, without a tire, the body will not function. Also remember that the body of a car will determine the type of tire. Those of us who are mobile, you know, you have different type of tires, different number. 180 by 18, 180 by 16, this and so on and so forth. The same thing applicable in research. So that is why your background to the study will dovetail into your problem statement. You see, will dovetail into your problem statement. So in a nutshell, problem statement is more or less a summary of the problems in your background, so that your reader will now be rest assured that, wow, this is what studied. This is what being studied. That is what problems. So when you are talking about research problem, you are talking about 2 or maximum of 3 paragraphs, not 2 pages, not 3 pages. Some errors here is that the researchers are repeating what? Are repeating the same thing from their background. That's some errors researchers are making here. So whereas it is a summary of the problem you have identified, that is why it is called problem statement. You state it. You state it. Because you have identified from your background the specific problem, and you have to state it in form of a paragraph or 2 in your problem statement. And that is why some researchers, what they have in problem statement should have been in their what? In their background to the study, not their problem statement. So this is one of the major errors under this section. One of the major errors under this session. In the next 5 minutes, I stop now to see whether there are questions to entertain. Then when we are permitted next time, we continue with that. So, yeah. The error here is how to formulate research questions and hypotheses. Either we are talking about qualitative study or quantitative study or mixed method. How do you formulate research questions? Colleagues, let me tell you sincerely that If you don't have good research questions, the whole thesis and dissertations are useless. Very useless.
Hello, Prof.
Yeah.
Hello, Prof.
Yeah.
Just a minute as you are preparing to wrap up your presentation.
Yeah.
I would like to acknowledge some senior colleagues on the platform.
Okay.
First and foremost, I would like to acknowledge Dr. Bumi Omodan from South Africa, University of Water-Sisilo. He's with us this morning or this evening in South Africa. We also have our senior colleague, Dr. Tony Marshall. He's also from University of Water-Sisilo, also in South Africa. And we also have Reverend Eric Amuabampo, a PhD candidate. He was once my pastor. So he's also a PhD candidate. He's also on the platform.
Thank you.
So these are the senior colleagues that I've seen them. And I know that we have other professors online. If I'm not able to recognize you, it's not something that is intentional or an oversight. Please just identify yourself so that you will be recognized accordingly. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr.
Prof,
Damoah.
over to you.
Thank you so much. I recognize my daughter also in the platform. She's also a senior colleague.
Okay.
So I also recognize Dr. Emmanuel from Botswana. Thanks for joining.
Okay.
Yes, thanks for joining. So colleagues, in rounding up, because I believe MonYonna and has gotten some questions in the platform under the chat to ask after I will stop now because of time. I'm time conscious. Now, I was saying that objectives, sorry, I'm still on the research question, yeah. The research question must be well tailored to solve the problem, the research questions. And when you are unable to populate the right research questions, you are far from doing research. I will tell you, look, I will stop on this because it's loaded. The next one is research objective, which is just a duplication of research questions. Now, let me tell you the importance of research questions and sub-research questions. And listen to me. Your research questions must be able to provide the answers to your research questions, must be able to provide solution to the problem you have started investigating from the beginning. So that is why you must be able to have a very sound research questions. In some part of the Africa, we call this sub-research questions. And we also have main research questions and sub-research questions. Main research questions is more or less repetition. That is, you are repeating your topic. Then, whereas your sub-research questions, you must be able to have questions to answer the problem. And what is the problem? The problem is in your main research question. And what is the problem? The problem is your title. So research problem can be seen from your title. Remember, I told you one of the fundamental things that we are expecting from your title is what? Is the problem, which is the phenomenon. Then the location and the participant. We want to read that in your title. Now, your sub-research questions is pivotal to your research, the entirety of your research, from beginning to the end. Your sub-research question is pivotal to it. And it must not be a repetition of your main research question. That is one. It must not be a repetition of your main research question. You see? Number two, from your sub-research question, you populate your literature review. You could say how important these sub-research questions are. And from your sub-research question, you design your instrument. So when you are designing your instrument, you should use indiscriminately the use of what, why, and how. Listen to me. We believe that when you are doing qualitative study, you make use of why and how questions. But when you are doing quantitative study, you make use of what questions. So you need to understand this at the beginning to know the type of research you embark upon. Let me give you an example here. You discover that some people are doing qualitative study, and all the 4 sub-research questions are starting with what. And the gist of qualitative study is called the in-depth research. In-depth research. In-depth research. So we want to see a question of why and how. We want to see a question of why and how when you are doing qualitative study. Now, let me give you another example. I said from your sub-research question, you have your literature review. Obviously, the same literature review will be used to support your findings or oppose your findings when you are doing data analysis. Remember, we get your instrument, the questionnaire or interview guide from your what? From your sub-research questions. So sub-research questions is very rich. It's like the engine of a motor. Without the engine, there is no movement, there is no mobility there. And once you're unable to unpack your sub-research question, you have not even done anything. The research is as useless as anything because you need to do that. And you discover that the need for the sub-research question is very important. Take, for instance, it is from the sub-research question, if you want to, after you have completed your study, if you're interested in publishing articles from your study, it is from the research questions that I'm talking about that you take some topics. So it could be an advantage, added advantage to you if you have more than 3, 4 sub-research questions. Don't have only 2 and say you are okay, but it will haunt you when you are about to extract articles from your sub-research question. And take, for instance, let me give an example before I pause. Factors affecting mathematics performance in Mississippi. I say factors affecting mathematics performance of, we don't know whether you are using grade in Mississippi. Dr. Ben, what are you using? Is it primary or level?
They use a grade.
Thank you very much. So factors affecting grade 7 student in Mississippi. Factors affecting, okay. Factors affecting mathematics performance of 7th grade in Mississippi. So mathematics performance is the problem. Grade 7 is the what? The participant. The location is what? Mississippi. Can you see the topic now? Now, once you want to unpack those factors, literature must have shown you many factors affecting 7th grade performance in mathematics. However, you should look for those areas that are very silent, those factors that are very silent, that they are extraneous to affect mathematics performance. Those are the factors you will use to populate your sub-research questions. And remember, your sub-research question will lead to your instrument, either qualitative or quantitative, that is either interview guide or what? Questionnaire. So they will represent different sections in your instrument. And remember, because you have gotten literature review from your what? From your instrument, from your sub-research question, you use the same instrument, the same literature to support your findings when you are doing analysis and findings. When you are doing analysis and findings. Now, listen to this before I stop. I always encourage my mentees that when you are discussing your findings and you are supporting or opposing, we call it contrast. You say you are supporting or opposing with literature. The literature you are using must be from the study, especially from your literature review, not a new citation entirely. You must not have a new citation to support your findings. Why? because your finding must be aligned with the literature, because the literature is aligned from sub-research questions, and sub-research questions is the instrument. Okay, let me give you another example before I pause, colleagues. Now, the same topic of scenario now. Factors affecting 7th grade mathematics performance in Mississippi. Fine. Now, having read the literature, I realized that phobia for mathematics is one of the factors, and I have it there. How do the phobia for mathematics affect student performance? I use the word how now. You see, I will also use why. I'm talking about if I'm doing qualitative now. Now, how do the phobia for mathematics affect 7th grade mathematics performance in Mississippi? Now, under the literature review, I will look at mathematics phobia and phobia for mathematics and performance. I will review literature on that. Then maybe some literature have told me that phobia does not really affect it, or phobia affect it. Take for instance, if I assume in the literature, I do 2023, believe that mathematics phobia lead to poor performance in mathematics. Then Damoah 2019, believe that phobia has nothing to do with performance. It is what? It is lack of pedagogies for teaching mathematics. Now, in my instrument, I now ask question to my participant. You say, do you think phobia in mathematics affect the performance? And if they say yes, that means you are supporting their yes with my literature, I do 2023. You are opposing it with Damoah literature of Damoah 2019. That's what we are saying. So you cannot just say you are bringing a new citation entirely into your findings, into supporting or opposing your findings. Allow me to pause there so that I can see if question can be taken, because we have 17 minutes more to finish this section, so that in the next opportunity will be more than this. And I could see that this is awesome. At the beginning like this, to have recorded this number is very awesome. So a kudos to you, Dr. Damoah, and the coordinator over there. So let me pause there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof, for the wonderful presentation, and we are so much grateful. I would like to remind the participants that this morning, our dear professor touched on the working title of a study. He also touched on the introduction of a study. He dealt extensively with the background to the study, and he also wrapped up his study. He wrapped up his presentation on formulation of research questions and hypotheses. So now we will open the floor for questions and contributions. And we have questions already on the chat, which I would like Ms. MonYonna Braxton to take them so that we could equally discuss it.
Yes, so there are a few questions that have been presented in the chat. And the first one is, could you explain if keywords should be written right after the introduction?
Yes, the keywords should be after the introduction, before the background. Because your introduction in research is like a statement of the problem. It's like 2-3 paragraphs. It doesn't need to be too lengthy, because you're just introducing your reader. Tell your reader what they should be expecting in the whole research, rather than taking them up. It is under your problems, background to the study, that you problematize what you have gotten in your what? In your key terms. Thank you.
Okay, Prof. On the arrangement of the dissertation or the thesis, I would like to find out, it's not based on the university's requirement. I know, for instance, University of Fort Hare, some time ago, the introduction of the key terms will come after the sub-research questions. Then later on, it has been moved from the introduction, after the introduction, right after the introduction. So I don't know if it is universally acceptable that right after introduction, you should introduce the key terms, irrespective of the university's standards.
Thank you very much. Let me throw light into that, Doc.
Okay.
You say, number one, what is key terms? We realize that researchers are jungle from one thing to another during their background. What is not there, they just put it there. And that is why the essence of key terms before background to the study is to tailor and guide your background to the study. Because by the time you have sat down and formulate your key terms judiciously, you will not deviate from that key terms when you are writing your background to the study. Because your key terms must be unpacked from your assumption of research question, your topic, and maybe some things you have introduced or the gap you have read about. You put them in your what? In your key terms. Because we discovered that some researchers, they are writing what is not relevant inside their background. So key terms guide you what to write inside your background. You see, take for instance now, the question I said, the sample I said, factors affecting 7th grade mathematics performance in the Mississippi. Now, your key term may be, okay, mathematics performance. Then, when you have read those factors that is common, you pick 1 or 2 factors that are major, maybe lack of textbooks, inexperience of the teacher, and so on and so forth. Now, those limits you put in your key terms will guide your what? Your background to the study, because you cannot explore everything. You can't. So, a researcher are go haywire when they are writing background because they were not guided by key terms. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, over to you, Ms. MonYonna. Okay, I think Dr. Omodan is also online. His hands are up. Over to you, Dr. Omodan.
All right, thank you so much, colleagues. And I so much appreciate you for organizing this very important section. Thank you so much, Doc. And to the professor, we really appreciate your presentation. My question is on the literature to support findings. I want to speak from the qualitative perspective, because in qualitative study, the dynamic is a bit different to the extent that you might not be able to predict the kind of result you are going to get from the field. Let's say, for example, you have, in your literature, you think that, or you have seen that the problem of academic performance is lack of leadership. But unfortunately, by the time you get to the field, by the time you engage with the participant, you may discover that it is socioeconomic problem. So in that case, where you have reviewed something related to leadership and many things like that, and when you get to the field, the situation is completely different. What do you do?
Thank you so very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Modon. It's a good question. Number one, that is the reason, that type of research, we can call it deductive approach. That is, your field work inform you new things. Then what you need to do, go back to your literature. You are not at liberty to say you have concluded it after the field work, or you are not at liberty to say that you cannot touch your work. That is the best thing. You go back to the literature, put the question on leadership that will resonate from your field work, put it in your sub-research question. It's as simple as that. Then secondly, if they said it's leadership, then let us know that the literature you have done does not say about leadership. You see? But the best option is the first one. Bring the research question related to how do the leadership crisis affect mathematics performance? Bring it back. Then review it. So the scholars you see in that literature use it to support what you find out in the field. So that is why research is not mechanical. It's flexible, especially in qualitative. Some new development can come out from your field work when you are interviewing people. Then bring it back to the sub-research questions and bring it back to your literature. Then use it, because as a researcher, as a reader or assessor of your thesis, if I want to read anything in your findings and analysis, I will make sure that it has resonated from your what? Your literature review. It cannot just be manufactured at what? At the analysis stage. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. MonYonna, please, can you read the next question?
Yes, so the next question is that the individual would like to find out if after an NP or infill thesis.
That is MPhil,
a
yeah.
specific topic- Huh?
Yeah, you are correct, MPhil.
Okay, should, I guess PhD thesis, should it necessarily be the same topic, or should you choose a different topic in the area of field that they're studying in?
Thank you very much,
Okay.
MonYonna. You know, what I always tell people is that you should be consistent in your what? In your field of specialization. Back home, they believe that the terminal degree is what? Is MPhil. You finish, you just got degree of MPhil, you cannot proceed to PhD because MPhil is terminal. Those who did MPhil are those who did not qualify to do PhD. That is in West Africa. But whatever the level you are doing, make sure that your research topic align with what you have been carrying out from even from your first degree. Because you must have a focus, a field of specialization, and maintain that focus on. Otherwise, when you derail, you become a jack of all trades, and you'll not be able to profess, you say, on that particular aspect. So I'm encouraging the person that, look, one of the genes of research is transferability, applicability, accountability, so that my limitation to my research will be the strength to your own research, the same thing. And the word research means what somebody has done and you are researching it. So there's no new thing that comes from the sun, from the sky rather. So you can continuously focus on the same area, but not the same topic. Take, for instance, you are doing mathematics education. So mathematics education, you can focus on maybe methodology, you can focus on pedagogy, you can focus on environment, you can focus, but everything is still on mathematics. So you are consistent like that. That will be better.
Thank you, Prof. The next question. Thank you, Prof.
Professor,
I would like
could-
to ask our coordinator if it's possible to extend our time, maybe 5 minutes more, 10 minutes more, because I've seen a whole lot of questions. Is it possible? With your
there's a,
permission, coordinator.
yes, there's a possibility that we could extend the time. I'm uncertain if everything will time out, but if
Okay.
it does, then I will send you a new Zoom link so that you can send out to the participants.
It's gonna be very difficult now because they're in different time zone. Okay, let's try and get it done.
Professor, could you throw more light on how research title can include the site location, participants, and other variables of interest, as you mentioned, and still make it concise?
Yes, I've just alluded to that I've given an example. Factors affecting 7th grade mathematics performance in Mississippi, where you count those words, they are less than 12. So we still have the liberty of having 18 words in your title. So that is the example that I've given. So, but however, because you cannot abbreviate and you are having more than 18 words, you can suspend the citation, location. Then put the location under your scope of the study. But we must see the problem from your title. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you, Prof.
Another question comes from another participant. He wanted to know if he could choose two different countries as their,
It's fluctuating. I didn't get you, MonYonna.
Could they choose two different countries as their study area?
It depends on the type of study, however. It depends on the type of study. Because, okay, let me give an example. The guy I met in US is using only 4 samples from 4 countries in Africa. You can imagine 4 samples, 4 countries in Africa, and he's doing qualitative study. So it depends on the study because his study is focusing on the type of economic experience, economic welfare of those people is choosing from different countries. So it depends on the type of research you are doing. You can choose 3 countries, you can choose 4 country. I've seen somebody who chose 4 countries in Africa while doing his PhD. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We are trying to create a new link so that we can share it before this one expires. So I will try and also help Ms. MonYonna. I think she's busy doing that. The next question from another participant says that, Professor, please, based on the example of research title you gave that involves site participants, and I can't see what he wrote there, how would you come out with the purpose of the study?
Thank you very
and he's
much.
also asking, is it possible to get this PowerPoint?
Okay, the PowerPoint, we have not even utilized 1/4 of the PowerPoint. So we hope when there's opportunity to utilize it, then we'll be able to send it out to those who are dedicated to this group. Now, like I said earlier on, one thing I've not been able to touch is that your topic, your main research question, your purpose of the study, and your scope, those 4 things must be unique. They must be the same. If I thought you wanted to add to it, but the same thing you are saying in those 4 areas. Take, for instance, let me go to my example again. Factors affecting 7th grade mathematics performance in Mississippi. So my purpose would be, the purpose of this research is to investigate, if I'm using quantitative, is to investigate factors affecting grade 7th grade mathematics performance in Mississippi. I've done the purpose. Then if I'm going to talk about the scope, I do the same thing. Then I will now bring out the reason why I picked grade 7 and the reason why it's Mississippi. I can add that to it under my scope of the study. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Prof. We have sent a new link. So if this one expires, we will click on that one and continue with our meeting.
Where do we get that one? The new link now.
We will just post it quickly.
Yes, copy it.
We have 1 minute for that one to expire now.
Yes. Okay,
Otherwise,
MB, I think you can also post it.
It's been placed in the group chat.
Okay.
in a group
That's
chat,
good.
we can just click on it directly right now, isn't it?
Okay.
Let's click on it so that we will not struggle.
Everyone should click on it. Okay.
Yeah.
We are migrating. Please, everyone should click on the new one. Please click on the new link so that we can migrate to the new one.